want you to take in and look just how fire these 4 stars are on this Jing Yuan banner. Look at them. Now look at me. Now look at the banner. Look at the 4 stars. Look at Jing Yuan. Look at me. It's gonna be a good banner. What's going on, guys? Welcome back. It's Josh. How good is the Jing Yuan banner? It's really, really good. I'm gonna break this down for you as much as possible. I know I'm a little late on this as the banner's just coming out. So let's go with this. So the 4 stars here, we have Sushang, we have our girl March 7th, and then we also have Tingyun on this banner for 4 stars coming in with Jing. So the first thing we're touching on right here is Jing real quick. He's an erudition character, but he doesn't suffer from the problem that a lot of the other characters of his path type suffer from, which is not having a lot of single target damage. This character does have a lot of single target damage in a lot of the ways that is hit. He's just someone that's going to hit really hard and quite quickly, both single target as well as AoE. He's going to scale in these situations where there's multiple targets, but he doesn't really require them. Let's touch on why that is. And now a lot of us, a number of friends out here who like math, have been doing a lot of calculations behind the scene. I've actually looked at the CN tier list where they have him placed at tier 0, which is basically there's 4 characters on that list. It's Sayla, now Jing, Bailu, and then like Brania / maybe Ting. Maybe there's 5. There's 4 or 5 of them listed as a tier 0 character, which is basically SSSSS plus tier. Look at the single target damage calculations here on Pridwin here. This is using average gear, pretty good 5-star gear, nothing super crazy. This is without other characters and buffs for them. So this may be a little bit different than what you will see in your team. This is just kind of them in a vacuum on their own though. Single target erudition character, 20,000 damage below Yangxing. Absolutely insane. You bump this up to 3 targets and you will see that he's 470k, just kind of living and doing his own thing there. So this is before buffs. You know, Brania can get in there, help him do more damage, do more AoE damage, stack up more stacks for the Lightning Lord. There's a lot of things you're gonna be able to do with Jing Yuan. So if you're looking for a strong character, do you need to have access to him? Absolutely not. But if you're a fan of his design, you think he looks really cool, he's gonna be a very good character for you in both single target as well as AoE situations. So this is something that you can go ahead and look at here for the numbers. But what about the other characters? What about the other 3 4-star characters on the banner? How are we feeling about those? Now, the first one I'm going to touch on is going to be Ting. Now, Ting is a character that I have up in the top echelon of characters that could be rated as God tier in Honkai Star Rail, and it's because she's just so good at enabling someone to sort of hyper carry your team, which is strong all of the time, but even more so as we are limited by resources in the gear. You're gonna have one of your DPS that's super heavily invested, right? You're gonna have your Sayla or your Yangxing or your Clara or your Jing Yuan when he comes out as well. You're gonna have one of these characters that's gonna have all your top tier relics, all of your top tier leveled up light cones. Everything's gonna be poured into this character, and Ting is very good at buffing them up, giving them a bunch of attack buffs with her skill, with some extra additional lightning damage from herself. She also has the ability to give energy to characters so they can use their ultimates while also giving them a damage buff bonus. So she's very good at making someone a gigantic hyper carry. If you don't have access to her and you're interested in Jing, hopefully you'll get her on this banner. If you're not interested in Jing and you don't have Ting yet, you could argue trying a couple of pulls just because everything on this banner is so good and aiming literally for this character. She's such a amazing character to have access to. And if you already have one, then she's got some very good early Eidolons as well. As like her first Eidolon here, when you use your ultimate, the ally that you use the benediction buff on is going to get a 20% speed buff, so you can get them up in the turn cycle faster, overall increasing your DPS. This is also going to help your DPS keep up with turn cycling with your Ting as well, because she is going to be able to give herself some little speed bonuses every once in a while from using her skill as well, which is going to apply the benediction buff to them. So you're going to have some nice speed tuning between both your characters with that first Eidolon Ascension. Then she has her second one here, which is pretty big if you're comboing off or using AoE characters, because this is going to give energy to your character with her buff every time they defeat somebody. So if you defeat a bunch of enemies, or maybe you're turn cycling with Sayla, or using Jing and wrecking house with everything, you're gonna be able to get energy back with this one too. So these first 2 are amazing. She does have some other really nice ones here, like giving a big damage % bonus multiplier to benediction with her E4, and then also giving 10 more ultimate energy on her E6. So all of these are fantastic for you if you're going all in on Jing to try to get them and you keep ripping Tingyuns. on your way there, you're going to be a very, very happy camper. Now, another character you'd be super happy to see as well is Sushang. She's an excellent hunt physical character. She does do a ton of damage, and she's very good at not just breaking shields of enemies who are weak to physical, but also doing bonus damage to people who have weakness broken shields. She's going to be speedier when they're in combat and their shields are broken. When she breaks somebody, or they're afflicted by a weakness break, I should say, she's going to advance forward 15%. So she's got the speed stuff down that you would want a hunt character to have to be super aggressive. But the other thing that she does have is her skill, which is going to do bonus damage with these sword stance triggers. And the chance here for these sword stances to proc are going to be increased to 100% if the enemy is weakness broken. So she can help you weakness break things with that physical sort of element she has access to, and then get in here and do bonus damage there. But then she can also have this sort of combo gameplay style, kind of similar to something like a Seele, but not quite as extravagant, which is going to be with her ultimate here, which is going to do damage, and then it's going to push you up to the front row. So the way you want to use this is you want to have her take her turn, use her skill, have the skill generate her up to 100% ultimate gauge, and then immediately use her ultimate as her turn's ending, and she will then push herself back up and go again. And if the enemy's weakness broken during all of this exchange, you're going to be doing bonus sword stance triggers for extra damage at 100% proc rate. So she can absolutely dump a bunch of damage into a single target all at one time. Now, the other thing that she can do is that at her Eidolon 1, if you use her skill against someone who has weakness broken shields, it doesn't cost anything. It just gives you the skill point back. And this makes her crazy good because, well, in a scenario, think of this. You have one skill point, enemy's weakness broken. You use that skill point, it refreshes, it fills her ult up. You still have that skill point, you use your ult, you see her push yourself again, you drop that skill point, you drop all of the damage from all your sword stance triggers, and you still have that skill point remaining. You can do all of this stuff, that's 3 different attacks with a multiple sword stance triggers for no skill point cost. It's a fantastic Eidolon and probably the best one in the game, as long as you're able to get these targets' shields destroyed and broken, which she's pretty decent at in a lot of things. She's gonna be very good in Memories of Chaos, Hall of Trials there. If you're fighting enemies who are weak to physical, you can throw her in there with Natasha and just have people do a bunch of stuff. Pair her with Ting to start facilitating all this bonus damage. Use her with some Harmony characters, get that Eidolon 1. Now, there is one more character we need to touch on. I don't want to be a damper, but this is gonna be March. March is still extremely powerful, very strong, but how worthwhile is she to pull as a character on the banner? Because everyone has her, we can level her up for free. Really what we're getting from dupes is Eidolon. Well, the first one here, you get Memory of You, which is going to give you some ult regeneration every time you freeze an enemy with her ult AoE. This is very nice. It's very nice. You're going to start being able to facilitate that freeze plan. It's probably one of her best Eidolons that you can gain access to for that reason. Even if you're only getting 6 energy back from this, you get some energy recharge on her, and then all of a sudden this is giving you 10 energy back towards her ultimate. It's very, very good even in a single target scenarios like that. Now we have Memory of It. This one's just going to give a little shield when you enter combat. If this was enter battle or every turn, it gave a shield to the lowest HP person, we'd like it a lot more, but without that, we don't really care. And then we have the C4 here. It does give you some defense scaling, which is pretty nice, but as of right now, it's really hard to build March for HP and crit chance and crit damage and defense and all of this stuff. Basically, what you're getting from this one is you get one more extra counter. As of right now, this can give you some extra ultimate energy generation. And so between the 4 and the 1, you're gonna be able to get that ultimate up quite easy compared to before. And then we have the E6, which is gonna give some HP regeneration from her shield, which is okay. It's very small. It's 4% of their max health plus 106. If you're using her in something like the Clara tank down team, where you have the shield on Clara, this is gonna heal your Clara up a little bit over time. But how useful is that E6? As of right now, I don't think we have a way to facilitate March being like your sole damage dealer. Maybe in the future, if we get more offensive Harmony characters that do damage with a little bit of healing on the side, maybe like a super offensive Luocha in the future, this could help out there. So while she's not like the worst character to get off of this banner, I will say that she's probably the worst of the 3, unless you're not really looking for a DPS 4-star like Sushang. And when you're going and double checking the Pridwin.gg calculations, do go through and look through this man's hard work, and do take note that there are rules and restrictions for how these characters are judged, do yourself a favor. I'll link this down below for you if you want to look at all of the math yourself. You're a math wizard out there. There are restraints to the calculations. There's certain gear you can and cannot use. We're not using supports, and how supports are factored into these characters' damage numbers aren't reflected here. So keep that in mind, guys. Have fun out there. Take care. Have good luck on your Jing pulls tonight, and I'll see you in the next one.